Well, thank you, Cancer Support Community, for this most prestigious and most meaningful award. A little history about what led to the development of checking in. We recognized when children would come to the outpatient setting, as you heard, they were often not being seen by any mental health providers. And it was only when a crisis occurred. We heard about a child who stopped taking their medicine, was refusing to go to school, was depressed, was fighting with their parents. It was then that all of a sudden we got a call and say, are you going to see this child? And we recognized that we needed to find a way to be able to screen these children in an evidence-based way in the outpatient setting. When a child is inpatient, everyone sees what's going on because they're followed 24/7. And so in 2008, wrote the first protocol to be able to look at a distress screening tool. It was called a pediatric distress screening tool, a distress thermometer. And we partnered with the NIMH, with Dr. Marilyn Powell, to be able to study the usefulness or the feasibility of being able to use this distress thermometer in the outpatient basis. And while we found that the distress thermometer was clinically useful and it was valid against standardized measures of anxiety and depression and pain and fatigue, there were a number of challenges. Number one, there were a 43% discordant rate from what a child is saying their distress was, from what their parent was saying their child's distress was, and what their provider was saying their child's distress was. When a child is going through cancer treatment, they're going to have a lot of symptoms. They may have nausea and pain and distress. Being able to check all those things was just not sensitive enough. We needed to find out what of the symptoms are really interfering with their life. What are the symptoms that are most bothersome to them? It was also on paper and pencil. And they were just like, I don't want to fill out any more forms. I'm not in school. And then they said, I hate the word distress. You're distressing me by asking about distress. And so I said, is it okay if we just check in? And that was what became the name of the next screen. And so fast forward, we then connected with the cancer support community. It really started with the fabulous Vicki Kennedy, for anyone who's around long enough to remember Vicki, a dear colleague, thank you, a dear colleague and friend. And when I told Vicki what we wanted to create, she was so excited. She said, you know, the cancer support community really wants to get into the pediatric space. Yes, let's do this together. And again, fast forward, we have worked with some fabulous cancer support community staff that have made the creation of checking in possible, including Peyton and Damian, and of course, the fabulous Kate, wherever you are. And although I wasn't happy at first that she was moving on to a new position, we're really, really proud of her. So what is and what does checking in actually do? It's colorful. Go see it. It's interactive. You touch screens, things pop. You move a glider. There's colors. It's quick. There's a version for parents to fill out for their child and the child to fill out for themselves. And so far, we found very little discordance between what a parent says about their child and the child says about themselves. And it gives an immediate report. So as soon as it's completed, the provider gets to see what is most distressing to the child and who to be able to make the referral to. And in a study that was opened in 4 different sites, 56% of the providers changed their care for their patient based on what they read on the checking in screen. That's impressive. And so here we are. Thank you for honoring this, but thank you for your partnership, because we wouldn't have been able to do it without you. And we can't wait to see all the hospitals that will benefit from checking in. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for being here today.
So I have the privilege of working with Lori in the Pediatric Oncology Branch. As a child psychiatrist, I don't have to tell any of you in the room that without taking care of children and seeing how they cope and adapt to any trauma or medical illness, but particularly cancer, you know, we're missing the boat. So that's really why we partnered together to make that experience understandable for children, to help their families cope, to help them understand it's not an automatic assumption that every kid who gets cancer will be depressed, and you've seen some really resilient kids. And so checking in is there to help our families identify what is resilient about their kids and then what might need more help and the team that we need to get the help from. And so that's what's really important. And the cancer support community and all of you can help us get these tools implemented more broadly so that everyone has access in the same way you talked about. Certain hospitals have it, but not everybody has it. So the cancer support community can put out the word that this is important for us to understand how a child is coping and adapting and developing normally as possible. And so we really thank you all for acknowledging our work. We're in public service. We really believe in the mission, and we want to partner with you and get these things implemented for the good of the public. So thank you very much, and thank you for your help.